Your best friend is about to get you killed. Again. You know this because the first thing you see when you wake up is him poking something with a stick. Something large, something furry, something that might still be alive. The fire is down to embers. The cave smells like smoke and wet fur. Somewhere behind you a baby starts crying, and someone shushes it. Normal morning. Welcome to the Stone Age. 25,000 years ago. No alarms, no calendars, no emails, no school, no deadlines, no group chats. Sounds amazing, right up until you remember something outside is actively trying to eat you. Your buddy turns around and grins. This is rarely good news. The last time he grinned like that, he spent 3 days insisting a distant rock was a mammoth. He named it. He was disappointed when it didn't move. You've never exchanged phone numbers, never texted, never seen a photograph of his face, not even his own. None of that exists. And yet you'd trust him with your life before you'd trust almost anyone else alive. Because out here, friendship isn't a nice to have, it's infrastructure. One person alone doesn't last a season. A group finds food when you can't. A group watches your back when you sleep. A group remembers what you forget. A group survives your mistakes, and you will make them, especially you, especially him. Outside, dawn creeps over the tundra. Grass stretches to a horizon with no roads cutting through it. No towers, no smoke from anyone else's fire. Patches of old snow cling to shadowed ground. The wind doesn't stop, ever. It just changes its mind about direction. You own almost nothing. No house, no bag of stuff, no drawer of things you forgot you had. But you carry something most people today never had to earn. Knowledge that keeps you breathing. Which berries feed you. Which ones kill you. Which plants close a wound where the water hasn't frozen. What a broken branch 50 feet up means about what walked under it. Miss one of these lessons and you don't get a second try. Your buddy points at a bush, confident. Safe, he says. How do you know? My cousin ate them. And? Silence. Very long silence. You keep walking. Movies have lied to you about hunting. It isn't fast or cinematic. It's mostly walking, hours of it, sometimes entire days, tracing the edge of a herd's patience across country that doesn't care if you're tired. Some groups cover distances that would make a modern fitness tracker file a complaint and quit. And there's no guarantee. You could walk 20 miles and come home with nothing, then do it again tomorrow, because hunger doesn't take days off and it doesn't accept excuses. Then your buddy stops, dead still, points at the ground, tracks fresh, big, not human. You don't speak, you don't need to. One glance between you carries an entire conversation. How far ahead, which way, are we really doing this? Some researchers argue this kind of wordless coordination, this reading of another mind through nothing but a look, is part of what grew the human brain in the first place. You're not the fastest animal out here, not the strongest, but put a few of you together and something clicks that no lion, no wolf, nothing else quite manages. The trail leads over a ridge, down into a valley, across a frozen stream, and your buddy vanishes. 1 second, upright. Next second, gone with a crack and a very undignified yell. You run. He's punched through thin ice, not fully, just enough to be furious, soaked, and already composing his defense. The ice looked thicker from you pull him out. He's shivering, insisting it wasn't his fault, and somehow already planning how he'll tell this story later with the ice twice as thin and the fall twice as heroic. You keep going, because there's no version of today where you don't. Hours later, a herd, real, not hoped for, not imagined, actually there, grazing in the low light. You crouch. He crouches. Every ancestor you never met is the reason your body knows exactly how still needs to be. Then you feel it before you see it. Not the herd, something watching the herd. A cave lion, close enough that the air feels different, waiting. And suddenly, everyone in this valley has the same problem. The hunters, the herd, the lion. Everybody's hungry, and hunger doesn't negotiate. The lion hasn't spotted you. Yet. Your buddy sneezes. You don't pray. Nobody's invented that yet. But you do close your eyes and consider, briefly, whether murder might be invented today by you, right now. The lion's head snaps up. The herd freezes. For 1 full second, the entire valley holds its breath. Then it doesn't. Hooves tear up frozen ground. The lion breaks for a straggler. Your group breaks for another. This is the part where humans should lose. You're not fast, not by animal standards, not even close. But you don't need to be fast. You need to be relentless. Long legs, efficient sweat, a body built to keep going after faster animals have to stop and pant in the shade. It's not a flashy advantage. It's a devastating one. Plenty of animals can outrun you. Very few can outlast you. The herd tires. The gap closes. And then, done. Meat on the ground. Enough to matter. Enough for the children back at camp. Enough that tonight isn't a hungry night. Nobody speaks for a moment. You just stand there, lungs burning, legs shaking, feeling, inexplicably, chemically, fantastic. Your brain has been rewarding exactly this feeling for longer than language has existed. Your buddy throws his arms up in triumph and immediately slips on a patch of ice. The universe, it seems, has a sense of humor older than your species. Back at camp, kids spot you first and come sprinting. Word spreads before you've said a single word. Nobody asks who gets credit. Nobody counts shares or argues ownership. In many hunter-gatherer groups, splitting the kill wasn't generosity, it was insurance. You feed everyone today because someone else fed you last month, and someone will feed you next month when your luck runs out. It's not kindness. It's math that happens to look like kindness. Your buddy is already telling the story. In his version, the lion is enormous, the herd is impossibly fast, and he, through sheer cunning, orchestrated the entire hunt. Everyone else remembers the sneeze. The debate over what really happened will apparently outlive both of you. Then something small happens that matters more than the whole hunt. Your buddy slices his hand open on a stone tool. Not dramatic, not even that deep. In your old life, you'd barely notice. Here, with no antibiotics, no clinic, no one 30 minutes away with a bandage and a bill, a small wound is a live threat. Someone cleans it anyway. Someone checks on him through the night. Someone quietly takes over his share of tomorrow's work without being asked. Archaeologists have found skeletons of people who lived for years after injuries that should have ended them, a leg that never should have healed straight, a hand that shouldn't have worked again. They survived because someone chose, repeatedly, to keep them alive. Compassion isn't a modern invention. It's older than the wheel, older than the written word, maybe older than language itself. Night falls fast out here, and it changes the rules. The hunt is over. The danger isn't. Eyes catch the last light from the tree line. Something moves that you can't identify and don't investigate. But you have fire. Simple and completely transformative. Warmth, protection, cooked food that's easier to digest, which, some researchers argue, may have freed up the energy that grew human brains in the first place. And fire buys you something else. An audience. One hunter retells the chase. Someone remembers a hunt from years back that's gotten noticeably more dangerous with each retelling. Your buddy tells his version again. Lion bigger, herd faster, his role somehow more central every single time. Nobody believes a word. Everyone listens anyway, because a joke about frozen lakes is also a warning about frozen lakes. A story about a lion is also a lesson about the smell of one downwind. Long before anyone could write anything down, stories were the filing system, and the ones that survived were the ones worth remembering. The stars come out, all of them. No streetlights competing, no glow on the horizon, just an uninterrupted, almost unreasonable amount of sky. People today rarely see what your ancestors saw every clear night of their lives without trying. You look up. Your buddy, for once, says nothing. No telescope, no textbook, no one with an answer, just the question sitting there, unbothered by how old it is. What is that? Burial sites tens of thousands of years old suggest people were asking versions of that question long before farming, before cities, before anything you'd call civilization. Long before there was anyone around to answer it. Maybe that's the actual superpower, not strength, not speed. The refusal to stop asking. The fire burns down. Kids drop off one by one. Conversation thins to murmurs, then silence. Tomorrow will look almost exactly like today. Wake up, find food, avoid the things that want to eat you, help each other, try again. Simple sentence, brutal task. But something's happening here that nobody in this cave can see. Every mistake survived tonight, every lesson passed on, every story exaggerated around this fire. It's all quietly compounding toward farming, toward cities, toward writing everything down instead of just remembering it, toward medicine, and eventually toward wondering what's past those stars in ways their descendants will actually get to answer. The people building all of that never got to see it. They were too busy staying alive long enough for it to happen at all. When you picture a caveman, you probably picture a stranger, something distant, something that doesn't resemble you. But sit at this fire long enough, and that gap closes fast. You know this laugh. You know this fear. You know exactly what it's like to have a friend who almost gets you killed and somehow makes the story funnier every time he tells it. 25,000 years separate your world from this one. Your nature never got the memo. The embers go dark and it hits you. You were never watching strangers from the deep past. You were watching yourselves. Just without the roof.